All right. So the way that I think that this customer relationship counter aspect works in our life is the fact that I know that when I bring a concern to Stephanie, sooner or later it will get addressed. Now, I will tell you, it takes a lot of work, lots of work, and I think that it's obviously it's like anything else. If you want something, you have to work for it. And of course, I want my wife, and obviously I want her to be happy, and I want to be happy in a relationship. So in order to achieve that, I know that it's going to take work. And even though she's a professional in this, I know that we have our days. But I'm also just confident that sooner or later we're going to come around, we're going to fix things.
That's funny. You said she's a professional. Tell me, it's got to be a little tough, just a little tough being married to a marriage counselor, right?
It is a little tougher being married to a marriage counselor. It's interesting because a lot of my friends ask me, how do you deal with that? Is she over psychoanalyzing you? Or, how do you guys actually sit down, and does she pull out the doctor book on you, or how's that all come together? I said, no, we're just like every typical couple out there. We make time for each other, and we just make sure that we're addressing each other's concerns.
Fortunately, he doesn't throw me under the bus, because the truth is occasionally I yell at him, right? Like if I'm mad, right? So that is the truth.
I don't know if you want to record that.
All right. And do you feel especially bad afterwards?
Of
Because
course.
you're like, here I am, the professional, and I still...
Of course. Absolutely. I mean, it's not the advice I would give people, but then again, it's like we're all human beings, and so occasionally I'm going to have a day where I flip out about something, and vice versa. He'll have a day where he's upset or, more irritable because of work or something going on. So, I mean, we're just like any other couple with that, except for we try to have our service counter open. Yeah.
The thing that I think is important is we actually pick a time where we both know that we can actually sit down and discuss an issue. So we found that that's very important in our lives. For me, bringing up an issue right before bedtime is just, it just doesn't work well for me. I'm tired, I'm ready to hit the sack, and then she all of a sudden starts opening it up, and we've come to a point where we've decided that discussions like that before bedtime are not good for either one of us. So we both need our sleep with 3 kids running around, and so we just feel it's important that we pick a time that's good for both of us.
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to respond to that. I definitely think having a time has been really helpful for us, because generally speaking, if we're going to have a fight that doesn't get resolved, it's going to happen on Thursday or Friday night, like when we're really tired. So we find definitely talking like on Saturday or Sunday when things are a little calmer works much, much better for us. But one of the things that also has really helped me is knowing that if I'm really, really upset and it's kind of more something that I would say is urgent and I'm not going to be able to sleep, is that Brendan will keep his repair counter open for that night and like hang in there with me, and we'll work it out. And so usually I'll try not to do that. I'll try to wait until the weekend, but occasionally he gets extra points when he opens his counter at night if I'm like not going to be able to sleep at night because I'm so frustrated about something. Yeah.
And see, that's an interesting thing, because when you're experiencing your complaint, like, it's an issue that needs to be addressed in that moment. It's kind of like a phone call. You might call somebody when you're ready to talk, but you have no idea what they're dealing with on the other side.
Right.
So that's is that a difficult concept, getting couples to sort of acknowledge and get down with the timing?
I think in the beginning of couples therapy, it's more difficult for couples to wait because if they haven't been responding well to each other's complaints, that's why they end up in my office typically, right? So they don't trust that the service counter is going to be open. It's like if I trust Lowe's or Home Depot's customer service counter is going to be open, then I can wait a couple of days to get there. But if I think it's not going to be open and it's a really bad problem, I'm going to start panicking. I'm going to start flipping out, type of thing. And that's what happens in people's relationships. They start feeling more like, oh, it has to be addressed right now, because they feel so upset and so worried that their complaint's not going to be resolved. But once people realize that it is, eventually going to be resolved, it's easier for them to actually wait, typically. Yeah.
And just, I mean, when I have a complaint with Stephanie, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll actually wait to file my complaint, just because I know that I'm somewhat reactionary to something that's going on. So sometimes it's better for me to step back on my side, being the person that's complaining, to take some time and think through everything that's going on before I actually register a complaint. I find myself actually relaxing sometimes, more so than, ramping up. So sometimes it works to the benefit of me stepping back on the complaint side and thinking through something before I file my complaint.
That's awesome.
I will tell you that a lot of times I'll have a customer who will call me and they will literally rattle off 10 things wrong that's going on, not just with my company, but maybe in their personal life or whatever. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll let that voicemail sit in there for a little while, and I'll listen to it, but I might not call them back right away. And you find out 9 times out of 10 they may have actually just taken down their temperament a couple notches before you actually get on the phone and engage with them. So it actually works to kind of wait a little bit and not be so reactionary. There's sometimes I know that I've called people back as soon as they've registered a complaint in my voicemail. I've called them back and they've let me have it. And then if I waited a little while, I've actually experienced people actually calming down and having a more mature conversation.
Yeah. All right. Now, personally for you, are there any complaints that you have experienced getting addressed as a result, directly resulting from this concept of the relationship counter?
Go ahead, put it out on the table.
You don't have to go necessarily into specifics. I mean, don't get out of your comfort zone.
No, okay. So I think that some of the things that I have probably filed against Stephanie over the years is the fact that she makes decisions a little too soon, a little fast on the decision making. And I think through things a little bit more. So it might take me a couple days, where it might just take her a couple hours to think through something. And so I've told her not to be so fast in judging or making a decision on things, because I think it actually works to her detriment for her to make those kind of decisions. On the other hand, I think she thinks the opposite of me, where I wait way too long and time's passing and we got to get it done now. So in the end, we got a nice balance, and I think that our personalities, they help each other. She makes me move a little bit faster, I make her move a little bit slower in the decision making. I think we make pretty good decisions overall. It's a team effort. And, with 3 kids and our professional lives, it's just something that we've found to balance our relationship. Did I answer the question?
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Okay.
I thought you did good. And I was like, woohoo. And you got the whole concept of teamwork. And
How do you feel about that?
Well, sometimes when he's telling me I'm being impulsive, I don't really like it, I'll be honest. And I don't think he likes it sometimes when I'm like, okay, you've been thinking about this for a long time, and, can you speed things up and come up with, some sort of a thought on what you want to do in this particular decision. But ultimately, I know that we do help each other. So, and I think that's the whole point with sort of hearing each other's concerns and complaints, is you learn about your own personality, and being partners with someone, that's part of being helpmates, is to help each other grow and bring out, the best in each other. And sometimes that means making changes that you don't really like to make. So for me, it means sometimes slowing down and kind of, being a little more less decisive, taking a little bit more time. I don't like to think of myself as impulsive, just decisive. So, but just kind of slowing down a little bit. And he's like that little voice in the back of my head, like, maybe you should sleep on this. Because I don't want to go to him sometime and say, yeah, I made this decision. He's like, how long did you think about that? For 20 minutes? I don't want him saying that to me. So I'll at least give it 24 hours, at least.
I really think about what I'm going to say to her, because she's the professional in this field. So I make sure I got everything dotted, all the T's crossed when I'm coming to her, because she knows her stuff. So, but I really respect her for knowing that and just being the woman she is. And I think that's key in our relationship, just the actual mutual respect that we have for each other.
Yeah, I imagine it keeps you on your toes. I mean, you can't come with a bogus complaint that at the core is really an issue that you have personal, conflict with, and something that doesn't really affect the relationship, right? I mean,
Yeah, bogus complaint. Yeah, being called out by a doctor is kind of, makes me feel a little uneasy. But I made the mistake of saying, "Okay, Dr. Stephanie." And yeah.
Oh yeah. In my speech, I joke around, about how, gosh, if Brendan really wants to hit below the belt, really all he has to do is say, because he knows that's going to hurt my feelings if he just kind of like rolls his eyes and it's like, okay, I mean, he really has done that. And it's not just him. Like family members and friends have done that to me too. Like it's like they see me being human and they're like, oh, but you're the doctor, and they're like, you should really be acting and behaving better. So they call me out on it. I don't know. It's something I actually had to file a complaint about. Like, can you not say that?
Well, it's not only just saying, it's how I say it, it's how you say it, not just what you're saying. It's not only the content, it's the way that you verbalize it, and I do a pretty good job of verbalizing it. So
in those moments.
Yeah, in those moments,
he doesn't do that. So I can't think of a time he's done that in a while. I think
done
that was
for-
earlier in our relationship.
This is a safe topic because
Yeah.
it feels to me like something you guys have resolved.
Yeah,
Right.
he doesn't
So
really
it's
say
good
that
to
anymore.
have it on camera, I think,
Okay.
as a point that was an issue, and now you're past it. But
Yeah.
Right.
I would suspect that when you're feeling sort of attacked, that's like a punch that just gets thrown out there. Would you say? Or...
Yeah.
I would say that when we're getting to the point where we're just yelling at each other, which it hasn't happened in a while, one of us comes up with some kind of comment. Mine is, "Okay, Dr. Stephanie, you know better than everybody." So,
Right.
and I know that's what's going to get her goat, and it works. So I use it when I have to. It's usually the last card I want to play, but I play it, and I know it gets her, and usually. It's usually hard to repair that after you throw that out there. So, I'm a little bit more conscientious than what I've been in the past, and using, certain phrases or something that I know that are going to personally hurt her, because really we're not out to hurt each other. We're actually, again, we're trying to work together. We're trying to obviously achieve a lot of goals in our life, and we can't do it alone. We've realized that, and we just know that if we work hard enough at it and we play smart, then we're going to get it done.
Thanks for having your repair counter open.
Thanks for having your repair counter open.